Oh beloved, good evening to all. Yes, once again, it is Comrade Brothers Abu Armel speaking to England from my position in England. Please feel free to greet me with great distinction and, first of all, I apologize for the delay since I had scheduled the live for 6 p.m. but, as you know, here in England, at this moment when I am speaking, it is 6:43 p.m. It is raining here in England, so it is not easy. So, that is why I am a little late, but through comments. Today is Saturday, November 22nd, 2025. So here once again is your servant Abu Amel. There you go. From my position in England, please feel free to greet me. There are many differences, and as you can see behind me, the post says, the probatic that reads us, that sends us before you today, is the issue of invalidating the electoral robbery that took place in Ivory Coast. My dear country, as you are all aware, there was no election in Ivory Coast, there was an electoral robbery, do you understand? That is to say that in this full 21st century, France is imperializing itself, cumbersome. That is to say, the very one who refuses, to let, these ex-con, fly on their own wings, who wants to continue to exploit the natural wealth of these former colonies and who swears only by this wealth because it is the only country on earth that has been, if you will, cursed by God, that has nothing in its subsoil, that has all the wheat to make baguettes, the milk to make cheese and the rice to make wine and champagne, and all the rest, that only comes from the Ivory Coast, that only comes from the countries that are on the dome of France. Do you understand? So there is nothing, as we say in spirituality, the heart of man is where his wealth is. And God has put nothing in France. That means that the heart of God is not in France. So look at my gaze. If God's heart is not there, whose heart is there? Do you understand? Because we have two camps. We have Lucifer's camp and the camp of God Jesus. Do you understand? So, we don't need to draw you a picture. The father of France is Lucifer. And when we say Lucifer, he is there to steal for Vaux. He is there to destroy, to create confusion, to create chaos. He is there only to do harm. That is Lucifer's nature. And you understand that the one who harms us until proven otherwise is France. So that is the very nature of Lucifer. And to close this parenthesis, to return to what unites us is that there was no election. So we are saying that we must invalidate this electoral robbery that took place in October 2025, and to do this, we, the diaspora, have put a petition online. And this petition asks that at least 5 million to 10 million Africans sign this petition, so that, because today we are in the age of digital technology and everything that is digital, a petition like this, you are, secure. This too is a legal document. You see, it is legal proof of our time. Do you understand? So 6.5 says that currently in Côte d'Ivoire, we are between 25 million and 30 million inhabitants. Do you understand? If 5 to 10 million sign and invalidate this election, it is clear that it weighs in the balance and it proves that this scene is disgusting, and then we must answer with 0. And you see, and we say that why do we use these democratic means? Because they are means that exist and have proven themselves. And we say that since there is nothing new under the sun, you understand, for us spiritual men, we remember that today Alassane Demon calls himself an empire builder, and for us the symbolism of the emperor is what we call Pharaoh. And Pharaoh, so that God would have victory over Pharaoh, God first gave him 12 PETA leaders to warn him. 12 PETA leaders means 10 and 2. Do you understand? To warn him, you see, today we warn the Emperor Pharaoh Alassane Damatara. We warn him by asking him to redraw the electoral list before the elections. He did not listen to us. We went on marches, he did not listen to us. All these are the PL, and this is this petition. It is a pleasure. Do you understand? Because we say that there is nothing new on the sun. Before going to the country, to the coal, one must always have exhausted all the remedies. What is called prevention is better than cure. That is to say, all the warning remedies first, as God himself, who is the perfect example, always shows us before going to bring down the mines of Jericho. They spent 7 days walking around the wall singing to warn. Do you understand? And as we have seen since the beginning of the world, since the creation of humanity, all the great competitors, when they besiege a city, they always spend the time warning first that this city has the chance to surrender, or if it ignores them, then they launch the final assault. Do you understand? So there is always this time to warn that prevails. There is always this time to save the dead that prevails before the country can arrive. So, we never wish for the worst, but it is in case, as we say, that everything has been exhausted and that we no longer have another course, since it is clear that it has been proven that we never negotiate with the Turo, and that the Terroro, is what we have symbolized spiritually by the symbolism of the serpent. You see, you understand, beloved, the serpent, you see its nature. It swallows its prey whole. It never swallows its prey halfway. So it is, as they say, a diehard. There you have it, a diehard. There you have it, a diehard. You understand? And that is how all the tarots are serpents. They are diehards because the more we negotiate with them, the more they harden and the more they want to abuse them. Do you understand? That today, you see what is happening, you are a witness. We are trying everything to bring the emperor, says Alassane Draman, to the table of discussion, but he has no ear because that's how it is, like everything, like Pharaoh yesterday, as they say. There is nothing about the sun, ha. History always repeats itself, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try, all democratic means, to save the dead. So today we have this petition here, and how can you sign this petition? This petition, you have to go and write on the website New Pool. That is to say, you can write in your Google search window new, or go to YouTube, you write new. New is N-E-W. Space. P-O. Elmo. Do you understand? I think there is an E at the end, yes. So you write it like that, and the website on YouTube, you will see the links are there. And I think I'm going to hang all these links on my wall. But as you can see, this petition is a preview of this petition, the image that you can see behind it. So if I move a little bit, you'll be able to read the petition. Do you understand? Do you see? There you go. So when I come back now, there you go. Do you see the petition there? So this image there, you'll see it on social networks. All this is the image of the petition. And you have to do as I do, use the image there, take the photo of your profiles. That way, we can get the number of signatures we're looking for as quickly as possible, because today we have what is called the right to interfere, and it is in the name of the right to interfere that France went to interfere in the fight between Ukraine and Russia. Do you understand? For us, the diaspora, if we have 10 million signatures, we too can seek help, and we call that the right to interfere. So, as a people, we can ask the Russian Federation to come and help us, you understand? To get rid of the Ivorian hunter, you understand? And we can also ask many people in Turkey, North Korea, China. There are many countries today that are non-aligned in the international mafia. And all these countries are countries that are for justice and that are humanists. And we humanists are the ones with whom we can cooperate. And as I usually tell everyone who listens to me, when God creates, He always creates 50%, 50%. We can never say that everyone is bad. Do you understand? In this world, in the checks of countries, there are 50% of countries that are bad. There are 50% of countries that are good. And we, those 50% of countries that are good, that's who we're talking to. Do you understand? Because evil can never outnumber good. At worst, it's always 50-50. Otherwise, good is always greater than evil, because good is the Creator Himself, is God Himself. Do you understand? God cannot create something to His disadvantage, since He tells us that if we, human beings, know what is, we know how to give what is good to our children, how much more will He, to whom belongs the power and the glory, to whom belongs everything, how many times will He give what is good? So, He is someone who also knows what is called charity. Start with yourself. So He Himself cannot give Himself the bad part and then give the whole part to Satan. It can't work like that, do you understand? And to tell you what, we're telling you all this to tell you that the fight isn't over yet. God hasn't said His last word yet. Satan can never win over God. Do you understand? Satan can never win over God, right? And that Ivory Coast is not cursed, right? Satan can't win there. Evil can't win. Do you understand? Otherwise, what are we going to tell our children? What are we going to tell our children? That in life, you shouldn't go to school. You have to be rebellious. You have to be, and then you have to lie. Lie like you breathe to succeed. This person, you see, came to our country in '89. He said, "Oh, I'm a technocrat. I didn't come for politics. I'm signing papers, even in front of you. I'll never get involved in your politics." Quote, and in '93, you took him there and made him sign papers. He sped up his jacuzzi, right? And as soon as the guy is clean, he comes and says, "I am your new president. Put yourself in my pay, huh? Put yourself at my service." You understand how many times, he is not credible. And when he leaves there now, he himself knows that he is not credible. He has never been from that country. Because to know that he has never been from that country, you will never expect an Ivorian to say that I actually went to school with Alison the Dramatic, that this is our old school. These are our classmates, this is our past history, it does not exist. And we remember that in Ivory Coast we always have in all the classes, we have what we call at the end of the year, we have a photo, that all are with the teacher or the teacher, the whole class gets together and we call it a group photo, We have this end of year photo. He will never show you an end of year photo from a school he attended in Austria, so he is not from the Ivory Coast. And, on the other hand, all this kind of evidence can be found in the old Alt Volta, because at the time he was practicing, he was from Volta, he got his scholarship in Voltaire. He went to school there and all this evidence is there. So he is someone who is not Ivorian to begin with, and what is he going to say to destroy the Ivorian social fabric? I am from the north, I am Muslim, they do not want me to be a candidate, when that is not true. The first time Bedier sees him in the United States, in Pennsylvania, it is in his kitchen that Beer meets him and introduces himself to him. It's Beer's chef, who is from Upper Volta, who comes to introduce Alison to Bedier to say that because B was a diplomat very early on, I think, he was already 23 years old, he was already a diplomat. So, this one is a newcomer to the Upper Volta community, in Pennsylvania. He comes here to have a bite to eat every lunchtime. He's a taxi driver and a student at the same time. So that's how Bedier knows him. And this guy, you know that in Bedier's kitchen, there's always alcohol and everything. This guy, he drank alcohol, wine, all that stuff, he ate with wine. So he was never a Muslim. He married a black American woman. He was never a Muslim, Everywhere, he's someone who's an imposter in all things. And today, they want us to believe that in the middle of the 21st century, where we are in the age of Aquarius, of truth, these French people, who used to make fun of the scores when a president got more than 80% of the vote, he would say, "Oh, the Soviet score, the Soviet score." But today, they want us to believe that Alison is normal. Yes, it is possible that he could get a score like that and they will applaud him and the world will move forward. You understand that these are people who are morally miserable, right? They are 100 times the size of the Ilwa. All they care about are their own interests. The lives of Africans don't matter, whether they are very African or poor Van. We see Sudan. Yesterday we saw the news we were doing about Ukraine. Today in Sudan, we are talking about 500,000 deaths per day. But who is talking about that? Nobody. Here, I've been in England for 25 years. I remember. Ukraine just as much. Yesterday, every day, right now, If I turned on the television, you wouldn't hear anything. Suddenly, you'd be waiting for Ukraine again. Do you understand? So, what's this to tell you? It's up to us, to do our talking. No one's going to do our talking for us. And since we hear that we're training like crazy before we get there, if we wanted to try all the means that intelligence offers us, Now, if the country is to get there, at least we've exhausted all the means that intelligence offers us. And these means that intelligence offers us here, there's the petition. Do you understand? Because the petition itself is something we call a digital legal document. Do you understand? Of the 21st century, all of this is part of the 21st century. That's why you'll see that here in Europe, we also hold elections digitally. We can vote online because we have fully integrated digital technology into the democratic system. Do you understand? So the petition is a digital vote. Do you understand? If there are 100 million, well, we are told that we have roughly 8 million readers, while there are 100 million who sign a petition saying that this election that took place is a farce, that it's a forgery. Do you understand that there is no match? Do you understand? 100 million against 8 million. Well, we all know that there were never 8 million voters during this electoral farce. That, all in all, RDR voters and corporate voters, incorporated with, all those who were fraudulently given identity cards, that is to say, the Syrians who were brought in, the Ukrainians who were brought in, all of them there, to replace the Ivorian people, because that is what is waiting for us. So, we are forced to fight. We are forced to fight to liberate our country, go who goes, because it is the great replacement of the Tunjits and all these people who were sent to whom we gave passports who do not even speak French. They are not ready to work on the Ivorian plantations. On the contrary, they are ready to tear these plantations away from the Ivorians because they know that to exist, you have to have the land. Man is dust. Man comes from the earth. So when you own the land, you own yourself. So you are someone who de facto matters. That is why you see that there is always a craze, an unbridled interest in land because all the essentialisms of the human being are based on the land. That is why we are told that you came from the earth and it is to the earth that you will return. That is why we are buried in the earth and it is said that man is dust. And that is why at our birth our cord is buried and the fetus is also buried. Do you understand? So everything is always linked to the earth, you understand? So when the earth is torn from you, you no longer exist. You are like wind. Do you understand? And that is the point at which they want to push the Ivorian. But they say that they lied. Do you understand? Because the Ivorian is not cursed. The Ivorian is loved by God. That is why the land of Ivory Coast is full of all these resources because, as we say in spirituality, as the Word of God says, the treasure of the being is where his heart is. So if he put all these riches there in Ivory Coast, it is because his heart is in Ivory Coast. He loves Ivory Coast. So, beloved, for that would be to dishonor God if we leave what he has entrusted to us, what is very dear to him, Ivory Coast, the land of Ivory Coast. If we leave that to the stateless, if we leave that to the unbelievers, if we leave that to these things as we call them, even those who are upstarts. There you have it. If we let them snatch it from us, we will be perjured before God. We will be a dishonor to God. It is because we are not worthy of being sons of our Father God. Do you understand? That's why we must use all the intelligence that God has given us, he has graced us with. We must highlight that. We must put that into practice. And it is in one of these practices that this petition was put online. So go sign it and share it with those around you. And we also invite all people in social sciences to sign this petition. All Africans to sign this petition. If there are even 30 million of us on it, that means that humanity is vomiting out the corruption of drama, the gangrene of humanity and our time. That's because we have been doing this since the beginning of time. We have never seen someone as greedy as Alessandro Manara, someone who is as human as Alessandro Ouattara, someone who is committed to his project like Alessandro Manara. We have never seen that. A person who says he belongs to a country but still wants that country to burn because, in the end, what do we remember about him? Since he came here, he has never had a lull. That is to say, even in an election where he has no competitor, he still makes a fuss and he asks for 5 years. But now he has already done 15 years, he wants 5 more years, but always by stepping over corpses to come and sit down, and he finds that normal. So for him, we are here, we came to follow him, his wickedness. We are here to admire his wickedness and take him as a model, to let him continue. But it is no longer worth having children because our children cannot witness that. But it means that we are cowards, that Alessana's model can dominate us. And what will our children say? But that's it, it's the best model. That is to say, we must crush others with wickedness. What is it that wickedness pays for? And we refuse that. Wickedness cannot pay, and it will never pay for lies. A guy who is wicked and destroys, and then he will stay there, and we will look at him and say that no, we are afraid of you, but you are already someone who does not act like that in the face of such wickedness, such ignominy. And who says that he is preserving his life? But what life is he preserving? Life is already lost, since that is the life of a rat. Because if we have to live like rats, rats live unconsciously. That is a life of unconsciousness. You see, the conscience is there, and you see someone who has a bad role model, someone who already gives you a thumbs up, someone who lies, more than he breathes, someone who is discredited on all sides. But this one, they say that he must be the leader, and you say no, you are there, you are preserving a life. What life do you still have left? Since not only do you not have a life, but you do not even give your offspring the opportunity to have a life, because if they have to live in a country run by such a model, it is clear that these children have no future, since they will say that what is the point of being fair, what is the point of being, because everything that governs you, everything that is your leader. These are the characteristics that he has to be your leader, so he is the best profile since he is the champion field. So, we don't need to go to 1214 or go to school to understand that. Do you understand? It's symbolic. We must do everything to remove it because it doesn't bode well, and morally, if it has to stay there, it's not good for anyone. That is to say, whether it's the children or all of humanity, it's not good. It's not a good message that it sends to humanity. It's not, let's say, something, what do you call it? A model that honors humanity and started with the Ivorians, and it's a disgrace that it's our share as Ivorians with the rest of humanity. When humanity has already shown us the example that we should follow. When I talk about humanity, I'm talking about the example of Mali, the example of Burkina Faso, the example of Niger, the example of Nepal, Madagascar. You see, all of this is humanity. So are you showing us that we are different from humanity, or that we are outside of humanity? I say no, we are not outside of humanity, we are not different. We are fully human, so we refuse to let the curse fall on us. And that's what we say in spirituality. It is clear that misfortune will happen, but misfortune acquired by which misfortune occurs. Do you understand? So it is not because of us that misfortune will come to humanity. We refuse, Alison, this cancer, we are going to vomit it out. Do you understand? We are going to cure it by all means. They say cancer cannot be cured, but we are going to cure cancer, and we are going to set an example for all humanity that cancer is curable, that there is no disease that is beyond the hand of God and beyond God's decision. And it is God who has the final say. Do you understand? And it is in this spirit that we are in this petition to say that we are going to use all our intelligence, we are going to use everything that is legal, that God offers us, as His children, because it always reminds us of the 12 curses of Pharaoh. Do you understand? While God, you are God, to whom belongs the power and the glory, could do like that and then finish with Pharaoh with a snap of his fingers. But he wanted to warn Pharaoh by giving him 12 pleasures. When we talk about pleasure, we are talking about people like that who we are warning. Let's sit down and talk. Let's sit down and talk. That is to say, all these steps, this approach of bringing Emperor Alessandramati Katara back to the discussion table. That's what we call pleasure. That is to say, it's a question, a sort of plea, understand, so it's a sort of appeal to reason. Do you understand? We're calling on reason. Come to your senses, brother, stop. The path you're taking is not good. Stop it. You're not going to get out of this. Evil will never prevail over good. Truth will never have the last word. Let's say lies will have the last word over truth. Darkness will never win over light. Never. Do you understand? So that's what it's all about. It's a divine principle. That's why we are convinced that we fight in truth. We fight in victory. And we know that this witch celebration that Alison is doing with all his followers, they are celebrating before the time. They are selling the skin of the bear before they have killed it, and it is not over yet. God has not yet said his last word. That is why we are inviting everyone to sign this petition, and I repeat, since repetition is always educational, it is available on the New Paul channel. New Paul is Comrade Francois Boma, who runs this channel new on YouTube. You will find the petition there, and it is available on Facebook, on TikTok right now. I will pin it, share it as much as possible, and we say that all those who love justice, all humanists on earth are invited to sign this petition, and that is what it is about. They say that silence is guilty. Do you understand? Someone who is silent in the face of injustice is himself an accomplice to that injustice. Do you understand? So since it is clear that today we are using digital technology, many of you are afraid to walk in the streets, and we know that the people who are facing us have already shown. They're ignominious. Side, their visible side, that is to say that they do not hesitate to attack people. So, here is an intelligence that preserves life and that gives you the choice, to those who do not want to be seen, who want to remain. Anonymous, to simply sign. In front of their computer screen, it is all with an email, and once they have signed, they must go back to their email to confirm the signature, and it is in this sense that the signature becomes valid. Do you understand? And suddenly, we know that it is a normal person who signed. It is not a person who has used, let's say, several emails to put a lot of signatures. So that means one person, one signature, one person, one signature, one person, one signature. So then, we know that the list is credible. Do you understand? When we see 100 million, we know that it's 100 million signatures because it's 100 million emails. There you have it. A person who signed, they went to confirm by opening their email, that is to say, in their digital inbox, and they confirmed their signature. So then, it's a valid signature, and it says that it wasn't a robot who signed, it was a human being who signed. Do you understand? So this is to tell you, beloved, that a fight is not a battle. It's several battles that include a fight. And since humanity has been humanity, there has never been a fight that took place with only one battle. That doesn't exist. All the fights have taken place over several battles, and it means that there was a winner. Do you understand? So all your processes on this earth, that's why we're all born as babies. We have to crawl. Then stop and start walking, all your processes. It's a divine principle. It's the same as to get a diploma. You have to go from kindergarten to the class where you have to sit down to be examined in order to get the diploma. It's always like that. So we're in the process, and we also saw for us the spiritual ones when we had to retake the promised land. It took us 7 days around the walls of Jericho. 7 days where we made the rounds, and with the ritual that we had been shown of singing, shouting, screaming until the walls fell. So this is to tell you that there is always a process, and this is another process. We did civil disobedience. It's a process, and this process is closed. We are in a new process of signing. Do you understand? And we remember that. France itself, which is currently torturing us, it was from its diaspora, especially from England, where General de Gaulle was, and then he left for Africa, that the resistance took place and they won their case. They were victorious in the end. So we are not creating anything, we are only copying what has already happened, and we know that the same causes always produce the same effects, and this resistance will win since the resistance of the diaspora always ends up winning. We saw that in Rwanda. In Rwanda, it was Rwandans from abroad, led by Paul Kagame, who came to take over the country, and until today, they have put the country on track and the country is doing well. Do you understand? So there is nothing new. France is controlling us and is making us suffer everything that Germany did to them. Germany, the Germany of Hitler and the Nazis. So we can say without a shadow of a doubt that today's France led by Macron is equal to Nazi France because it uses Nazi techniques against us. You saw yesterday that the French leader at the time of Nazi Germany was a traitor. But Germany said that he was the one who was good for France. Do you remember him? There you go. And it was from the diaspora that the patriot Gaul. encouraged his compatriots to regain the upper hand, and they won over the collaborator Vichy, who was collaborating with the Germans, and we are in the same situation. Today, we have the collaborator Alisson who, with Macron, is the Hitlerian Nazi because it is the same Nazi methods that they use against us. The monetary method of the CFA franc, it is the Nazi model that he said he used against France, and the method of putting dopes at our head. It was the same way Hitler used the Vichy there. All the collaborators, like the leaders of the French, but who were rejected by the real French, and these real French people rose up to bring down all these collaborators. And it is in the same approach that we are, but to do more than those inside. What do you even call it? It was like those inside in Ivory Coast today. They are, chained, they are, bullied, they are, something like, what do you even call it? What French word could I use? There you go, today. They can't move, they are in brigades. So it is necessarily the diaspora that has the duty to take over because, as they say, you only fight when it's hot. So we mustn't let the fight cool down. If we let the struggle continue, it means we've shot ourselves in the foot, we've been ripped off, and it's over for us. Because, as I said, when we no longer have land as human beings, it means we no longer exist. Do you understand? So we must by all means keep the flame of resistance burning. And it's good to remember that since humanity has been humanity, there has never been a resistance that has failed. Do you understand that? These are the facts of humanity. It's always a resistance that always succeeds because that's why it's called resistance. Do you understand? Because as long as there is no victory, it always resists. Do you understand? So when victory is good, that's when we say that the resistance is over. This is to tell you that a resistance always succeeds, and that's how it is, and the facts have shown us that the resistance of the Vietnamese succeeded. The Cambodian resistance succeeded. The resistance of the French, as we call them, succeeded, themselves, who are controlling us today. The Cuban resistance succeeded, but is it true that resistance always succeeds? Do you understand? The South Africans, we saw their resistance succeed. The Zimbabweans, we saw their resistance against the Guineans. And recently, we have many examples. We have Mali, we have BKNA, we have Niger, we have Nepal, we have Madagascar. You see that all these resistances succeed, so it's not with us in Ivory Coast, it's not going to succeed. So, beloved, I'm going to leave you, because all I had to tell you, what do we call it, is to tell you to go sign the petition so that the fight continues. We must not despair that Alisson is not God, that God even there, he loves Ivory Coast. He has not yet said his last word, and it is he who sends us to you again because there is nothing new on the sun. Himself, it took him 12 days to come to terms with Pharaoh. And it is the same God there who was there yesterday, today, and will be there forever. He never changes. So his way of acting never changes. Do you understand? So, stay blessed, 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 blessed. It was your brother and comrade Abu Amel said at the end of England from my position in England. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Bye bye there.